Shulchan Aruch.
We are doing Shulchan Aruch.
Doing Shulchan Aruch, and I'm going to ask everyone to come to your share. And if not, the recording will be there.
I need a post from last week, but yes, but it will be there. So
Okay, no, that's really important. Okay, the warmth of Torah. So we did the last time, we got up to half of Katav Rashba, which is, I'm using my Sefer, which is with the small letters. Looks like about in the middle of Bet, Katav Rashba. For those of you, I'm looking over on the text that I'm not using. Excuse me, the word text, the other day I'm not using. Taf Samach. Is that where it is? Taf Samach, Katav Rashba?
I I have a different edition of the Shirat Devorah, so it's I can't.
Okay, it's like Katav Rashba Yesh Omrim,
Mhm.
right? So this comes from the Torah up above. So we're going to repeat that. And I'm going to start, but as we do each one of these mini essays of the Beis Yosef, please let us know, meaning all of you, let us know who's talking, at any particular time, and what's the issue. When has the conversation stopped, changed? Look, basically, in my mind, you got, certainly got Gemara, and you have those early Gaonic people, etc. And the Torah, Beis Yosef, I'm saying now, finds himself as an equal to everyone else, sounds, except for Gemara. That's how I think he presents himself. And we're dealing with first-rate concepts from the Gemara, or somebody that's a second tier already. Very little about practicality. This is not the book Shemir Shabbos Kehilchasa, which is worth getting for Shabbos laws, and then for the kashrus laws. This is not your, OU guide to kashrus, which is, 10 steps. They're forming the concepts right now. So to ask my question better is which concepts are in play in any given mini essay, as I call it, of the Beis Yosef. I said last time that the Torah sets the stage in terms of how the Beis Yosef operates. Not the big Rebbe of the Beis Yosef, it seems to me, but he sets the stage, and of course, the Beis Yosef takes him very seriously. But from there, he goes on to his own excursus. So in the middle of Bet, I think that's where it is, depending upon which edition you have. Kosav Arashba. Yesh omrim she'ein maflit ela chom shel kli rishon shehu mevashel, aber kli sheni v'chen yirui shu kli sheni eino maflit. So if I was going to start this idea of talking about concepts, is basic concepts of kli rishon and kli sheni. Those are, that's how the Torah is saying it. But is the Torah really saying that? No, it's the Rashba saying it. And is it the Rashba who's saying it? Who's saying this? Yesh Omri.
Yeah.
Because I read Ori, didn't put on your audio, but I could read your lips. Okay, it's the Yesh Omri. And I think we didn't do good enough job the last time of going for what this multi-layered next 10 lines is multi-layered. Joel.
Yeah, I sorry, Rav. I just wanted to say that the Yesh Omrim that the Rashba is bringing seem to also equate Bishul and Maflit with one another.
Right. No, thank you for saying it. So it's Kli Rishon, Kli Sheni. And why is Kli Rishon important? Because Kli Rishon is Bishul. And why is Bishul important? Because we're talking about Plata. And when you have Plata, then you have this mixing of flavor. And this is where, if you have an Isur, that's where it enters into so far. It can get more complicated than that. The Lo Nehira, who's speaking?
Who's
speaking?
Still the Rashba.
Now it's the Rashba, because no, he's speaking on the Yesh Omri.
Right.
It's not the Yesh Omri anymore. It's the Rashba and the Rashba. Well, Niresh Erechom Shabesa Shchita, the Chom Chela Bakasilim, all this meat stuff. When it's when the animal has been killed, has been slaughtered, maflit, and they're not kli rishon and kli sheni. In fact, shehem pechusim make kli sheni. They're less heat than kli sheni. Ela kol chom she'al yedei ha'esh maflit afila ein hayad soletisba. What's this part? Ela kol chom. And Sha'al Yedei Ha'esh, now he's widening it. He's saying it's not just meat, that any chom close to the fire, so that's not really kli rishon or kli sheni. Any chom, because he's widening it right now. Any chom close to the fire, and how we know it's significant because it's maflit. I feel even if it's not burning your hand, if your hand doesn't recoil, excuse me, because we would have thought that would be the deal. And this thing of yad soletisbo or not, the Torah may have now brushed it aside, but it's not going to be brushed aside as we continue for our conversation. We are full of concepts right now, and really, what's the argument about? The argument about which concepts are going to predominate. And since there seems to be a direction towards that, who predominates or who controls, at the same time, there seems to be a nuance that what role do the other concepts play besides their laying down and being swept aside? And that's really where we're going to go to. Now, however, Benir Ali, so this Benir Ali is
the Torah.
The Torah. How about that? Benir Ali, She'ein Hanidom Doma Raya. Is that the best one? Raya? For a Raya? No, you shouldn't have brought this in. She'ein Chom Beis HaShchita V'chom Chelev HaKasilim Maflit El Kedei Klipa. They're a different deal. It's a specific kind of chom. They're in their own universe, and the impact of the universe, I'm reading it the way the Torah is reading it, is a minimal impact of Kedei Klipa, a little pinch, right? The old man in the show when you were a kid comes over and gives you a little pinch on the cheek, right? Not the big, not the guy in my show growing up who would stick his finger into your mouth and twist he was a piloter yet. I mean, he knew how to do it. But it's not that. It's just this little Kedei Klipa, which right now is not playing much, but it's not much of a concept. Abal lahavliya, not just plita, lahavliya, to make sure there's absorption, b'chol aheter, that the heter will absorb throughout the heter, there'll be absorption of the Easter. Lo chashuv chom maflit ela kedei klipa. I'm sorry. Lo chashuv chom ela imkena yad soletisbo. Yad soletisbo is what? Is the raya, or not raya, it's the wrong term, is the indication of a chom that is big enough, that's hot enough to do plata. And where is our kli rishon and kli sheni? Right now, I would just say right now, they're a little far away right now because we've gone through a whole series of concepts. The Afshar, and he adds something here which becomes important. The Afshar Sherotza Lomar wants to tell us something. The chom l'tochom eino oser. Gam kein el kedei klipa. But regular chom, I put in the word regular, and I think that's what we mean. Regular chom, not dramatic chom, not chom like a kli rishon chom, or that kind of chom You might think, oh gosh, there's so much chom being generated. Also, it's only kedei klipa. And what's klipa? It's a kid garnished. It's almost a nothing. That's how they're doing this right now. Many people brought that up, or some of them. But the Torah says, ain't okay. The Torah says, no, throw that out. In terms of chom b'tochom. Ella oser kulo ima yad soledispo. Okay? Wants to get rid of this kadei klipa. The whole thing is oser if it's yad soledis. Which evidently, is he saying that by chom b'chom? I can't tell. Is he saying by, and I'm asking, by chom b'chom, does he say it's a possibility of yad soledis? It's a question. Anybody have an idea? Vote?
Think so.
Think so. Who says that?
Rabbi Nachum.
Okay, if he thinks so, I think so. L'fikach, Joel?
It's not. I mean, I got this from the Bach versus Beit Joseph, so I'm cheating.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It's not clear when he says Vev Shar Shabbat Selamar. Is he talking about Kli Rishon, Kli Sheni? What kind of chom is he talking about? Is not obvious there either. It's you could understand that as maybe in a Kli Sheni, it's only Kedei Klipa. And
okay, but I think that's the move of as it were, third generation. I mean, Bach being the third, a generation past the, as it were, generation in terms of ideas at least, past the Beis Yosef, is let's still keep that in play there. And I think it's not, right now for us at least, it's not in play. It does not need to be in play. Rabbi, so now we'll go to the Beis Yosef.
Question, Rabbi, what is the correlation between Kli Rishon, Kli Sheni, and Yad Soledet Bo? Is there any correlation? Or it's two completely different concepts that don't touch upon each other?
Right now, for us, I would say Kli Rishon is a Kli Rishon. You got the pot on the fire, then is the red light on your electric kumkum? That's Kli Rishon. Yeah, that could be. Of course, Kli Rishon will create Yad Soledis. However, as I try to begin to indicate, maybe Yad Soledis is also in a less dramatic heat source. You turn on the water of your you put on, the water's a little too hot, or your boiler just came on, and it's Yad Soledis, and you put your hand in because you're going to do the dishes on Friday night or whatever. And if it's mutter to do so, it's last year's question. And you recoil. Well, it's not Kli Rishon really, but it's Yad Soledis. So I think Yad Soledis is a wider. You can play with this, Yad Soledis bow. Oh, so let me do it brisk. Kli Rishon is the Gorem as a Kli. It's the Kli, it's the Gorem, and Yad Soledis is the impact. How do we say impact in Hebrew? I don't know. How do you say it? Anybody? I want to keep this from.
Totza'ah.
The what?
Totza'ah.
The Totza'ah. Now it sounds better. The Totza'ah. No, but I mean it. Like I said, I'm not joking about that. So I think that's it is. Or therefore, if you have that Totza'ah, does that mean it's a Kli Rishon? Maybe not. Okay, I said it a couple of times. You got it. Now we're going to go into the Beis Yosef Kosav Rashba, and it's a little bit of a repetition, but I don't care. Yesh Omrim, Rashba tells us, she'ein maflid alachom shel Kli Rishon shehu mevachel, ava Kli Sheni v'chein irui shehu ki Kli Sheni ki Kli Sheni eno maflid. V'li nira, who's talking now? The Rashba, right? V'li nira against the Yesh Omrim. V'li nira sharei chom shel. What's the next word? Beis hashchita, and that whole thing too. So that would say that it doesn't have to be a Kli Rishon. V'nira li, this should be who? The Torah, right? V'nira li she'ein hanidon doma l'raya. That this is really, it's not a good proof. Is that the best way of saying it? It's not a good proof. Not good evidence or proof, we would say in Gemara language. She'ein chom beis hashchita v'chom chelav ksilim maflit el kedei klipa. And it only, right, our technical term, it's only maflit agurnished. Agurnished. Okay, Divrei Rashba heim, B'tor Sabayis, HaKatzler, da-da-da. Ube'emes, who's speaking now? Who?
Beis Yosef.
No, it's a Chassidus Rebbe. Be'emes. Okay, okay, we'll say it's a Beis Yosef. Ube'emes, it's a Beis Yosef, be'emet. Okay, be'emes, sheyesh li t'moa. I'm astonished at this. Al Rabbeinu, the Torah. The Devorim Ha'elu shekosav, the Ifshar, Sheratzal Amar, the Cham L'tocham, Eino Oser Ela Kedei Klipa, which we just defined before as a gurnit. I don't know. L'chaman, the Siman Zeh, kosav, the Yira me divrei harashba himself says. Shesover the chom al yedei maliach. So now you have chom and maliach. We got a new causation here, right? New groma, gorem. The new gorem is maliach. The chom al yedei maliach. Oser hakol, fully pervasive, has impact of complete isur. If you say it this way, then Yatzva ba'ara the Gura b'shmei Shemaya, which means, you look it up, it basically means things sound topsy-turvy to me. You got a pumfakert, you have a pumfakert, you got it like, it's totally opposite from what it needs to deem to be. Being said, we'll get back to this. Oh, the B'lavachi, even without this quotation later on, you can't say this. I'm reading the Perek Ketzad Solin B'cham L'tocham. We have in the Gemara Cham L'tocham, V'chein Tzonin L'tocham, both of them. Usher, they say both is usher. That's not a gurnik. Although they haven't defined what usher is yet. But he's kind of moving there to let it say, well, hey, it's usher. Ubecham L'toch Tzonin Amrinin Kolev. There it's just a klipa. Al karchach, therefore, efshar lomar the asur, what's that next word? Amre?
Damrinan.
Okay, thank you. Damrinan gabe cham l'tocham, otzonein l'tocham le'asor kedei klipa. Bilvad. This is what gets them. You're ending up giving me the same psak of tzoning l'tocham and cham l'tocham should both be the kedei klipa. Exactly same din. Hot into hot. Oh, there's no difference in tzoning into hot. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. You only get as far as the klipa. Amru, they say this. The im kain, dinam shaveh. You give them the exact same psak. L'din cham l'toch sonein. It's the same psak of cham l'toch sonein. It makes no sense. I shout that out because shouldn't have to shout it out because it doesn't make any sense. I don't have to shout that it doesn't make any sense. But I'm saying that it's because the Beis Yosef thinks this way. What makes sense and what doesn't make sense. It's very, he quotes a different thing, but this is what he has to say. Okay, all right, but no pilpul from anybody.
It's not a pilpul, but just understand the drama here. When he says, Be'emet sheyesh li t'moa al Rabbeinu, he's upset at the tour for this possible interpretation coming out of the Rashba, the Efshar.
That's right. Okay. That's exactly.
That's just what I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, okay. So they say, okay. You want me to talk Gemara, not just logic? Ubema yifagu Ravu Shmuel Hassam. You know, we had it over there. Ila gavar, itato gavar. Is it the top is the most important, or is the bottom too important when top and bottom meet? The zed davar. Shafil barbe rav dechad yoma. That a student on his first day, lo yitabo, doesn't know, will not make a mistake on his very first day. Shammai, what's the psak? Is it tata gavar or is it ilah gavar?
It's Tata Gavar.
It's what?
Tata Gavar. Because it says later on in the Siman.
Yes, that's all gavar.
It's all gavar.
Because you're a student in the first day. Okay, good. Kol shekena rashba. I love this. Kol shekena rashba. Shehu ayro shel aylam. Can't say this in Hebrew. It's say it in Yiddish. The lichtig from the Welt. He's the light of the world. He's not going to know that it's Tato Gavar. He knows that. Right? Afal pi shekosav shera kain l'ktsat mechabrim. That he saw this in some mechabrim. Ein hadaz so velas. The mind doesn't work that way. Shara l'shum echad mechabrim. Techam u'tocham. Otsoni u'tocham. The klipa sagi. No. Woof. That's as far as we got last time. Now, so the question is, so we really have this question here about Cham L'Tocham, because it hasn't been, as much as he yells about it, in a certain sense, he hasn't proven it yet. I think what I'm saying is correct. And if you have Cham L'Tocham being significant, then you're adding something really a lot to the whole notion of Kli Rishon and Kli Sheni. And you have to, and my question is Yad Soledisbo floating in there or not? We'll have to see. We have these different concepts up in the air. When I learned this, sometimes I have to write something on the side to make sure I got the concepts floating. That's why I can't learn on Shabbos, because I can't write. Just can watch TV. What can I do? The Afal Shaharan Kosav Shahara'ah, right? Ra in Germany, right? No, Ra was France. Who was Ra? What's the Ra?
Spain.
Rashi's grandson or something? What?
No, the Ra is right. It's the Berekavite, right? On the Rashba. He's
right. No, I know it's the same. Okay, fine. I think you're right. Shaharaso there. Okay, now I'm back to Shaharaso there. Ditzoneng l'tocham eino oser el kadei netilas makom. So this is not oser kulo, but it's significant. Why is it significant that the Ra says this? Yes, Ruvain.
Because Netilas Makom is more stringent than Klipa.
That's right. It's like it's a thing already. It's a zach. It's a thing, right? Mikol makom b'cham l'tocham lo amru. He doesn't say anything, or they didn't say anything. Mashma. The Beis Yosef says this implies, makes sense. The moda vadai to kulo also. That when it's cham b'tocham, it must really be kulo also, because they don't mention cham b'tocham, because it just must be obvious. Now I'm yelling because it's not totally obvious to me. It's an argument from absence to some degree, but there seems to be some logic. I mean, a lot of logic involved in it. The modeb vadai the kulo also. Va'afil b'tzoning l'tocham. Let's go back to tzoning l'tocham. Lo heftir ela b'netilas mokom shahu. This is quoting Ruvain. Shu yoter mikdei klipa. So therefore, it's on that path And once you have that path of more heat, then it actually makes sense to say cham b'toch cham is asur kulo, because that's the next category. We have kedei klipa, we have kedei netilas makom, and then we have the asur kulo, and therefore you see you can say that you're seeing a trajectory. Bod Sharashma kosa ba'oso shar asmo. Come on, what does he say? Nafel cham l'toch tzonein. Right, he's going into that. Right, eno oser el kadei klipa. It's only oser agurnit. A symbolic little pinch on the Shabbos afternoon cheek. It's a not much. The im nafal tzonein l'tocham. That something falls into cham, hakol asur. That's what we're trying to get to. And he says that. Udevar rav shehevi rabbeinu mechuvanim uburim heim. Who's rabbeinu here?
Is it the Rashba?
Yeah, I think it's Rashba.
I think so.
Now, he often calls the Tur Rabbeinu because he has to. That's the convention. But as we said last week, he's feeding off the Rashba. He's like a commentary on the Rashba, or he's an interlocutor with the Rashba. Shaharei lo kota v'shalorei lo kota shekol chom she'al yidei ha'esh. He doesn't say anything about that. I feel ein hayad soledapo mevashel. Doesn't say that kind of stuff. Ki hechi denishma. What's the next word? I have to find on my page. Denishma. Hechi denishma minei. The afal gav de mevashel eino oser el kedei klipa. El lomar shehu maflit kol kach lahatzrichenu klipa. So what's he going now? Now he's doing something which I didn't expect. Is this now like an argument for, giving some sort of status to Klipa? That even though I kept on calling it a Gurnish and he was calling it a Gurnish, there's actually something there. What creates the necessity for Gedei Klipa? That it has to be some form of Plata. Some form of Plata. You might say, well, some form, it kind of says there, some form of cooking, but no, it's important because it's some form of Plata. No real cooking. Klipa. The kach kosav b'ferush tersabayas ha'aruch yesh min ha'chachamim ha'rishonim she'amru she'ein ra'ui lahaflik lavliya el kli rishon. Ooh, that's the argument for the kli rishon. The only time you get both of those things going is when you have a kli rishon. The cliche no eno mevashel, because there's no bishul. And what does bishul mean? The bishul is two things happening at the same time, Leita and Blia. V'chein iri the kli rishon. V'kol she'eno mevashel eno maflit. Okay, eno maflit u'mablia. Im kain heter shenafal latoch iser. Let's go to this now. Hater shenafal latoch iser, shebekli sheni. Notice kli sheni. What's the next word? Hater shenafal latoch iser shebekli. Help me! I just I got these long lines and very short. What?
Eno.
Eno.
Eno bolea. That's it. No belua. No belua. Ubehadacha ba'alma sagile. The true gurnet. Hadacha, I wash it off. You get a phone call from somebody's kitchen right before Shabbos, and they're going out of their mind, and you're going to say to them, "There's no problem." You know what you say to them? Wash it off. That's what. By the way, I'm giving mentoring now, rabbinic mentoring. You can have a whole year of class just to teach you this one thing. I'm talking about the rabbinic mentoring class. Just tell them to wash it off. Okay? That's all it says. So what's going on right now? I don't understand what's going on. What is Chom B'Toch Chom right now for him? Before he said, I thought he said before that Cham B'Toch Cham was maybe potentially Kulo also.
But this is cliche now. But also, he's not going to agree
But
with you.
this is cliche.
Yeah.
So wait. When he was talking about Cham B'Toch Cham before, was he talking about Kli Rishon, Joel?
Probably, but he's going to, this piece, he's
He
going to.
doesn't say that, right? That
So,
he was.
it did not. He just said Cham B'Toch Cham. The Gemara only says Cham B'Toch
So
Cham.
therefore, when I talked with Cham B'Toch Cham a couple of minutes ago, I said it's Cham B'Toch Cham, and we're not worried about Kli Rishon or Kli Sheni. Problem here is, at least as I see it right now, is a struggle between, again, what are going to be dominant categories. And we just see this in front of us. We're going to get to, I think, some form of conclusion in a moment. The Elu Dvarim she'ein hadatz of what I just said to you was nonsense. That's the answer. Ein hadatz of atam, right? Your mind cannot bear to hear this idiocy. The ein pashatam shel sugyos shebegemara. No, the ein pashatam shel sugyos shebegemara does go like pshat and sugyos. Shel sugyos shebegemara maskemi mahem, that the Gemara would agree to this. In other words, it's not a good pshat. Sharei, we have the case b'shochet b'sakin shel nachri. Okay, he has a kosher knife, whatever it is. And you take his knife. Nechlaku. What do you do before you use it? Rabo mer choleif. Which you take off that outer piece. I guess you can use it against a sharpening stone. Rabba bar Rav Chana Amar Mediach. But I'm reading the Talmud de Rav, who says that you have to be kolev. Mishum de kosavar beis hashchita roteach. Not just as hot. Beis hashchita is roteach. V'chein.
Are we talking about the knife or the area where the shechting happened? Kolef, the meat.
The beis hashchita, but it does that to the knife. In other words, it's roteach the knife. The beis hashchita is roteach, and it's a guy. So he was shechting a nevela on a good day, or a pig, a treifa, or a nevela, or whatever. V'chein lamed alf. What's that?
The Lashon Acher.
Lashon Acher, Marinan, thank you. The whole beis hashchita roteach. Ubevare chom habeit hashchita muat mechom shebekli sheni. But it's coming back to the meat stuff, but the meat stuff is on this category, which itself in actual impact is less than a cliche. Va'afilu hachi, because he sees the problem. He sees the problem because we're saying is we gotta. It's less than cliche, and cliche is not good enough. Va'afilu hachi mavliya. Maybe it's that I'm just doing a story. Maybe it's that rush of heat that comes out. It's just like this is rush of heat. I don't know. But how the Yomar, the Omar and Meimar, Mishmei the Rava, Lo Yischof Inish Kafli Ilui Bisra. You can't put the flank of meat on top of the other meat if the flank of meat's not kosher or has chaylev on it, because that's, again, this is right after the shechita, because the meat is extraordinarily hot. You've been to the base, if you guys been, or when you go to the base shechita, you see the incredible fumes that come up when the animal is shechted, or if they immediately cut into the carcass. Mashma l'chayra to bolea mamish. And to say that whatever you say it's less than cliche, there is balua there. But tzorech klipa. Here klipa has a status. The Reisi das Ramban Zal al Shom Hare Mivuar Bidvarav Shelo Ba Ela Lahotzi Bidas Chachamim Shayu Omrim B'Hadocha Ba'alma Sagile V'Hatzricho Klipa Kamochom Beis Hashchikta V'Kafali Ilui Bisra. It's an exaggerated usage to tell us you should be careful and use kedei klipa. Aval le'inyan chon dekli rishon en lo esek bo b'makom ahu. Kli rishon kli sheni is the operative concepts elsewhere, and in shchita, given that situation, it has its own large heat and small heat, and that's how that operates. Of kamadinim, in fact, when Rashba finishes some dinim, kosvo, kumoshi skarti, that sonein v'tocham hakol aser. Okay, that's okay. I'll just read this. In Biku Medak, Ladas Rashba, Meliach Shenachal, Machmas Molcho. You still can eat it. Amai Dino Katsonain. I mean, it is salty, but why it's like Sonain Migara Mechom Beis Shchita? Is it less than they have the Shchita, the boy Klipa? Then we'll talk about that. Just leave it as a question. So, what was the topic here? We just went through all of it, and we mentioned many things. But what's the overall topic? Give me a guess. Max, try it out.
Blia and Plita.
Blia and Plita. Okay. And within what context then? What question there?
It in Kli Rishon versus in a Kli Sheni, and in a case of Heter Shnafal L'soch Iser.
Anyone else? Joe, what were you going to say?
I was going to say when the Rashba, gets upset about this idea that Kli Eno Maflit, and he brings the Beit Shchita and the Chelav Aksalim, what's he talking about? And the Beit Yosef's answer is he's talking about that it's Kedei Klipa. He's not saying that in Kli Sheni it's Kulo Asur. And he says that I think the Tur read it wrong. The Tur read it as a question about Tata Gavan.
Okay, that's good too. What are we missing? Missing anything? I would say the following. How hot is hot? And are there different systems, different strokes for different folks? There are different systems operating here. Mainly the busser system, and then the non-busser, the Kli Rishon, Kli Sheni. The Yatzel Bo question that we had, I don't think it's been fully answered. In terms of Yatzel Bo itself, is a complete indication of what that is. What do we say about Chom L'toch Chom? Or Cham B'toch Cham, excuse me, either one. No, Chom B'toch Chom. What do we say about that? Based on this, what do you think the psak is?
I thought it was Kulo Asur.
Okay, we've seen Kulo Asur. So how that all fits in, then strikes me, then you have maybe three contexts. You have chom b'toch chom, which is kind of regular heat. And then you have kli rishon, kli sheni, which is defined by fire. It's defined by fire. And then we have the thing about the shechting and the slashing of the carcass that has this rush of heat. And let me say one more thing. On some objective basis, and that they bring it up here over and over, that chom of the shechita is less than a kli sheni. But seems to be saying here is don't mix your categories. Don't mix your categories. So why should it be objective? Because you want a system of protecting from belia of Isur within the situation of meat, and you need a concepts that involve cooking, food preparation. So food preparation, kli rishon, kli sheni. When you talk about the shechita area, so now you're talking about base shechita, and that it fits there. Chom b'toch chom, I don't know, that could just even be at the table, not at the kitchen preparation, not over the fire, not over the fire, not like kli rishon, kli sheni. Not in extracting the source of food, which is, which I should have said first, which is beis shechita, or the flanks coming on that. Therefore, the flanks, and that's the first, in a sense, in terms of process, that's the first one. The second one is food preparation. And the third one could very well be, your tea, or what you're doing with your mashed potatoes, and if the cholent's really, really hot, and can you throw a little, it's at the table, and you have a hot chicken. I mean, and the chicken is not kosher. I mean, that's terms about eating. Okay, that's what I got here. All right, let me see. That given the case, let's go to, you see the section there, Dalet. Okay, where's Dalet? Dalet in the Torah, first of all. Okay, Dalet in the Torah. Since I don't really have the Torah, so what's the first words of Dalet in the Torah?
Is this Bamed Dvarim Amarim Kishni Tarvu Derech Bishul?
Okay, so you read.
Sure.
Read more authoritatively so I can get it. Yeah.
Bamed Dvarim Amarim Kishni Tarvu Derech Bishul Kegon Shnafal Latoch HaTavshil. Aval Derech Tzli Kegon Isur Ham or Afilu Kar Shnafal Al Tzli She'etzel Haish Eno Oser Kulo Ela Kedei Netila Shuhu Ke'ovei Rochav Etzba.
Okay. Beautiful. Wait, do you have to say anything more?
Well, there's
Or
a
does it
period
end
there.
there? Does it end
There's
there?
a period there. Everybody knows the periods are halacha l'Moshe Sinai. I could keep going.
What do you
Lefichach
think?
Yerech.
No. Stop there. Stop there. That's very good. Okay, so now we're talking about that. Now we're talking about this other categories that we want. Aish and Sli. I shouldn't say Aish. Bishul, excuse me for saying Aish. Excuse me. Bishul, which involves liquid, and you have Sli, which is basically waterless, liquidless. Bemed Devarim Mamurim, B'Kashanaru Derech Bishul. As you said, now read the Beis Yosef.
Sure. Bamed Dvarim Memish Kinitarhu Derech Bishul Kegon Shnafal Latoch HaTavshil Aval Derech Tzli V'chulei. בפרק גידנשה, תנן ירך שנתבשל בה גידנשה, אם יש בה מנות טעם, הרי זו אסורה, ובגמרא הרי זו אסורה. ובגמרא אמר שמואל, לא שנו אלא שנתבשל בה, אבל ניצלה בה קולף ואוכל עד שמגיע לגיד.
Perush. Perush.
פירוש.
No,
משום,
it starts in the next comma. Perush mishum.
פירוש משום, כשנתבשל הרוטב, מוליך פליטת האיסור, ומערבו בכל התבשיל, בכל התיכות שבגדרה. אבל צלי, כיוון שאין שם רוטב, אין הפליטה מתפשטת. ואף על גב דקיימלן, דאין בגידין ונותן טעם, מכל מקום שומן דידי אסור.
Okay, what do we got?
So the Bey Yosef here is bringing in the original Gid Anasha from the Gemara, and he's talking about how this is sort of our source for Kidei Klipa here, and he's saying Shmuel is saying this is only in the case when we're actually cooking it in a bishul. But if you're roasting it, you just have to peel it off Kidei Klipa.
And what's this business about? Why are we even talking about Geet at all? Geet has no time. You said the whole problem is the Easter. So we're not really talking about Geet. We're talking about
The shomen on the Gid itself, right?
Shuman of the Geet. Okay. The Kosvu, good. Atosus or Rosh, go ahead.
וכתבו התוספות בהראש לאו דווקא עד שמגיע להגיד, צריך להניח כדי קליפה סמוך, ואפילו כדי נטילה, דהיינו כעובי אצבע, צריך להניח.
Okay, could Amrina just a little bit more?
להניח כדאמרינן פרק כיצד סולים.
Keitzad Soli.
Right. נטף מרוטבו על הטרם, החרס, I'm sorry.
Paris. Right.
חרס. וחזר עליו ייטול את מקומו, ולא סגי בקליפה, אם לא נחלק בטעם דרוטב מפעפע ומתפשט יותר מגיד.
Stop there. So look, I mean, just tell you the proof comes from the Korban Pesach. We did this many times in preparation for sure. I mean, yeah, this comes from the whole Korban Pesach, right? The Korban Pesach is being roasted. A drop flies off from the roasted Korban Pesach, hits in the oven, hits the cheres in the oven. It kind of forms there as a drop up there, and it falls back down on the Korban Pesach. And you're not allowed to have Korban Pesach supposed to be sully. It's just the example. It's supposed to be sully and not mevushal, and therefore that spot is no good. And therefore what do we do on it?
You pull off Kedei Klipa off of it.
But then what do they say about Kedei Klipa?
It's actually not, it's lavdavka Kedei Klipa, really they mean Kedei Natila.
So Kedei
Which is
Natila
like-
is an extension of Kedei Klipa. Umihu lo ashkechan.
And in any case, no ashkechan b'shum makom,
Good.
sagid etzli. I'm sorry,
B'shum makom
the sagi letzli v'klipa kilkach letzli ba'ayin atila kevan shalom matzinu meforash bo klipa.
Wow. So it has to be Kedei Natila. So he's mechadish to us is that I just said before the Kedei Natila is an expansion of Kedei Klipa. But here it's Kedei Natila, yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't say anywhere about Kedei Klipa. That should be something in our brain about where are they getting Kedei Klipa from? Where are they getting Kedei Klipa from? If Kedei Klipa is just a more actual action than Hadacha, all right. but it's actually Kedei Klipa Halacha. Before we saying before in those cases hadacha, it really is a nothing, and Kedei Klipa is a step up, and maybe Kedei Klipa being that step up is really a step down from Kedei Natila. Where does it come from? I'm just leaving that question for inquiring minds. We'll have to see if that comes up. What do you got?
So how
Joe?
does this apply to when we went with the case of the sakin, right? Where you had the sakin that somebody that
Yeah, so
Shalgoy.
Kalev. Yeah. Is that it? Maybe that's the source. So therefore that's the answer, and therefore I'm embarrassed. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that's Kalev in that case. Maybe. What do you have already?
Well, you're saying that the Gemara's original language, kolef v'ochel, you're saying that's not really kolef, the kolef not klipa, that's really natila. So you don't want to learn from that.
I'm going to leave it up in the air. I'm not convinced that I was right. I'm not convinced I was wrong. Okay, so I don't, I just don't know right now. I got to think about it. You guys should think about it and let me know. But let's move on from there. But in the meantime, we see that Kedei Natila is like a really important zach. Okay, so where are we now? Are we at the Rashba again? Shahiyuter Ma'at. Okay, what's the second? Which words did we leave off with?
I think Veharan.
Veharan katav.
Oh, okay, so good. Varan Kotav.
Veharan katav agav the amrinan stama kolef the ochel ad shemigil agid kidei klipa tzarich lishayer o kidei netilat makom shehu yoter me'at min haklipa.
That answers my question.
Klipa, he really means kidei netila.
Who means? What's it again?
The
Just
Ron here.
Explain it better for me.
So the Ron writes, and even though it's plainly writes kolef ochel ad shemagil agid kedei klipa, really you have to leave a little bit more. You have to go with kedei netila. That's a little bit more than kedei klipa. It's more than this de minimis scraping.
Right. So again, in my I'm taken aback a little. So in terms of the language, I can't tell which is the major category. Or are they just two separate categories? But they seem very close. And I can't figure out right now which is the major category. But Kedei Natila here says something that it says Yoter Ma'at Min HaKlipa. It really negates diminishes some of its independent stature, that language.
It seems to me that
go.
The baseline is Kedei Klipa, and then you add a Chumra to make it Netila. But I would say that Klipa is the baseline, no?
I don't know. Why you say the word Chumras? That's my question. Maybe it's not a Chumra. Maybe you really need Kedei Netila in many cases. That's the question. A lot of times it will sound that way. In fact, we'll see it. If we finish this, we'll see it. So, okay, I'm just leaving this as a question. But thank you for that. The Harashba. Keep on going, Josie.
Sure. V'harashba kada b'torah tabayit she'ein shemono shel gid v'kankanot v'koromot mifa'afin.
Okay, what are those things?
So the fat around the gid and the
sinews,
the sinews and the enteric
membranes.
So that they don't spread, whether or not you're whether you're doing it with roasting or with salting. Ve'enan osrim ela kedei klipa bilvad.
You have the word bilvad there? I don't have it. You have the word bilvad?
I have bilvad. Bilvad. Kedei klipa bilvad.
All right, don't go any further. Don't think any further, which means no kedei netila, which kind of sounds like then kedei netila is a separate thing. You hear what I'm saying? Because it says ela kedei klipa bilvad. That's like that's an exclamation. ואחר כך כתב,
ואחר כך כתב גבי שמעונו של גיד וקנקנות שבו, שאינם מפעלים ולפיכך אינם אוסרים את תערובותיהן אלא כדי קליפה, ואחר כך כתב החלב והשומן מפעלים ולפיכך אפילו על ידי צלי ואפילו על ידי מליחה אוסרים הכל עד שיהיה בהתר 60 כנגד כל האיסור.
okay, before we get to the connect there. So what are the two categories that we have here? Or not categories, what are the two groups? In other words, they're actual things. We're not talking about categories, we're talking about things. On the one hand, we have what? You have the Schumann Shulgid, you have the sinews, you have the membranes, right? What's on the other side? What's the other group here?
You've got sort of the big fats, the Schumann and the Chalevs.
Right.
In-
And they,
you know-
and what do they do that the other ones don't do?
They spread throughout the entire.
They're mefafea, right? They spread, as you said. What's the difference between these two groups? That's what they do, and therefore that's the difference. So, but in their essence, how do they differ in their essence? Ori, you got, or yeah? What's the
Yeah, and
difference in their
saying they
essence?
don't, I think it's a Matthias thing. They don't bubble up and spread throughout the whole dish.
Is that where you're holding by, Joel? I saw you nodding.
I mean, I would even say, right, it's almost like the Shemin and Chalev,
What's the halacha? What's the status of Shuman Shalgid?
it's kind of
That's the only weird one.
Shuman
Is
Shogid.
what?
Yeah.
What do you say, Ruven?
Oh no, I didn't say anything.
What did you say, Eitan?
I mean, it's Derabanan, sorry.
It's Drabanan. Dear
And,
right, so you got real fat going there, and it's with Lafay and all the rest. Okay. Gia Nusher is usher, but Gia Nusher is not no same time. So what are we going to use? The Shuman shall get. It's Derabanan. And as it is, you can even see that it's not coincidental in Omefafea. Rabbanan took something with Eno Mefafea and they said that thing. So anyway, so therefore it's two, there. So they is it's a derisive Rabbanan. Joel, am I correct? You are. Okay, I am. You are and I am. Okay, now.
But are the sinews and membranes also a Derabanan Isser? Or is that actually a Matthias thing
we'll
about
do one more
bubbles?
line and then we'll lose it. Where is it? Where are we? Mashmali? What's the line are we on now? El Kedei Klipa, the Yesh Omrim, right? Is that it?
No,
Lefichach Gedi Shamen.
כדי שמן
Right.
שצלעו וחלבו וכולי.
Mhm.
במה דברים אומרים? בגדי שומן, אבל בכחוש, שמן.
Okay.
So with fat.
It's fat. It's fat. It's fat. It's fat. Yeah.
But with אבל בחוש, אף על פי שאין בגדי 60 כנגד החלב, שבו אינו אסור אלא כדי קליפה.
Because
here's
because not shaman. The Yesh Omrim, one more line. The Yesh Omrim.
יש אומרים שצריך נטילת מקום, והראשון נראה לי עיקר.
What's the Rishon? Kedei Klipa. You don't need Natila. You know why you don't need Natila? Because it's Drabanan. Kedei Klipa is enough. Don't bother me with Kedei Natila. It's Kedei Klipa. We take it seriously, but it's a Drabanan seriousness.
Rav Landis? I
Yeah.
don't know if it's the Rabbanon or just that this is a Matthias question of like skinny animals, the fat doesn't really go anywhere or something like that, or there's not enough for.
Yeah.
Is it skinny animals or lean meat?
I am taking another sheet of this Drabanan. But I still will hold with what I said before earlier in terms of its hefsa It's a so there's a Durabana Chefsa. But you're right about the impact. So therefore, I mean, you're definitely right, and I overstepped a little bit, but I still kind of hold by it. The Russian Ikar El Sheyesh Lachush. Just come a line here.
אלא שיש לחוש לדברי המחמירים באיסורים של תורה
Ad
עד
כאן.
כאן.
So maybe I screwed that up. So where it's a Kedei, why is it a Kedei Klipa? Joe, why is it a Kedei Klipa?
I think either because there's just not enough fat to spread, or I think it is just there's not enough fat to
You're
spread.
right. You're absolutely right. So they bring in this other category of shaman and raza, or whatever term they use here, of fat and lean, and the fat and lean can refer to the Eraisa category, and therefore, as you said, it's a mitzias, or as Ori said earlier, in that case here it's a mitzias, and therefore it just doesn't do enough, and therefore it's kedei klipa. But in this case, this man, these men, Beis Yosef, are still religious individuals, and they say, you know what, it's not so bad to be careful about the Eraisa issues, and therefore you probably should do Kedei Natila. Okay, that's the correction on that. What?
That's exactly where he continues. ומשמע לי שרוצה לומר דחלב דאורייתא ראוי לחוש לדברי המחמירים.
Right.
אבל בשלומן הגיד וקנקנות שבו דאינו אלא דרבנן כיוון דנראה לי עיקר דסגי וקליפה.
I should finish the evening with that. I'm saved.
אין צריך לחוש להחמיר.
I'm saved. Okay, Ari, what are you going to say? Thank you.
I was just gonna strengthen what you were saying too, because the case of the Gdi, if I understand this correctly, what we're worried about is it's completely roasted with its whole body, so we would be worried about Gira Nashe. So even though there's a Metzias question here about the fat, we're not worried in that case because it's the Derabanan thing we're talking about. You were the Shumanim de Gid are already only a Derabanan thing.
Beautiful.
It's not a Chalev question.
Right.
And that's what resolves that aspect for him. But if we're worried about Chalev, then he would be a chash.
Then when you right there, we have to be careful. So therefore, he is a religious man, and it makes sense in terms of religious being to be that way. And you strengthen me, and you strengthen me. Years ago, I kicked out a guy from Shir because he was such an SOB. Anybody would say anything, demolish the person. And I said to him, you never mechazek anybody else. You never deal with anybody in a this positive way. So he said, I'm the best guy in Shir, which was arguably correct. I said, well, take it somewhere else. Anyway, did tshuva. And I do tshuva, but he did the tshuva. But he said something very smart to me. I'm back to my rabbinic mentoring, right? Those of you who need this class for credit, okay, we give credit for rabbinics 202. I say, I think the difference in learning, he says, but I was socialized to this. Guy came from very good yeshivas. He learned 3-4 years in Chevron, not Hebron, but Chevron. Learned very good places. I mean, it was Talmud Chacham. I was socialized to this. But now I see what works is not that. He didn't say that, I'm saying that. It's not that, but when people build together. Feel free to destroy me anytime, but I like sometimes when I get chizuk. Okay, let's take 5 minutes. LA?
They're in Palm Desert now.
Oh,
That's right.
Palm Desert. You're in Palm Desert. Okay, it's snowing and you left town. All right, very,
Yeah, good week. Yeah.
very nice. Okay, Josie, you still alive? You there? Where are you?
Sorry.
No, sorry. I'm happy with you. Where do we leave off? Somebody help me where we left off.
We left off at אינו צריך אבנירה דמשום דקרומות.
Yeah, okay, so read that. But okay, read that part. It's not important so much, but okay.
Okay, ונראה דמשום דקרומות מספקה לן היא אסירי
No, no, it's not
מדאורייתא.
important. It's not okay. Skip to Midivrei Harambam.
ומדברי הרמב"ם בפרק ט"ו.
By the way, what he was about to do, which is very good to look at, is a close reading and trying to figure out, he's like, as a close reader, he's also a defender of the Rashba. So he fixes certain things in the Rashba. Okay, that's all, but it's not important for us. Midivrei Harambam.
ומדברי הרמב"ם בפרק ט"ו נראה שאין צריך נטילה מקום ולא קליפה שאם הוא גדי שומן.
Sheim Hava, Gedi Shamein.
שאין הווה גדי שומן שאין בו שישים כנגד החלב. כולו אסור. ואם יש בו שישים כנגד החלב, כולו מותר. שנתבטל החלב בכולו. So, according to the Rambam, he's saying you don't need to pull off this netilat makom.
In fact, let him do it. Hilkach, go ahead.
Hilkach, im nishar shum chelev
mishlicho. Just throw it away.
Ve'ochel agedi.
Ve'ochel agedi. Right? He doesn't like these, as you were pointing out, he doesn't like these quasi stuff. It's a kosher, it's mevutal, it's mevutal. Don't give me any other stuff. This is going to come up again in the base Yosef. The bracing either or of the Rambam. Either it's kosher, then everything's fine. If it's not kosher, you can't fix it. Don't give me these little queasy kind of stuff. Not a from guy, the Rambam. Okay? Let's go on.
והנימילי בחלב הכליות והקרב וחוץ בהם. אבל שומן הגיד לחוטין וקרמות האוסרים משום חלב, קיימלן דאין מפעמפעין, הילכך אוכל והולך, עד שמגיע לדבר האסור ומשליכו. וכן כתב הוא הדין בפרק זין מהלכות מאכלות אסורות, שזהו דעת הרמב"ם, שלא להצריך קליפה.
I think it's Harav HaMagid. I think the hey is Harav HaMagid. No?
Harav HaMagid.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
בפרק זין מהלכות מאכלות אסורות, שזהו דעת הרמב"ם, שלא להצריך קליפה.
להצריך.
קליפה לבהמה שנצלית עם חוטין וקרומות, וגיד ושמנו וסמוך. יתבאר דעת הרשב"א בדינים הללו.
Okay, fine. Okay, good. Very nice. Thank you. Shammai, you read now. Macho Amar Kagon. Now we're going to the Isur Cham.
ומה שאמר כגון איסור חם, או אפילו קר שנפל על הצלי וכולי, אינו אוסר כולו אלא כדי נטילה. קשה, דמאי אפילו קר דקאמר, אדרבה, בקר יש להקל יותר, ואפשר לעלות על הדעת לומר דאינו אוסר. So he's saying,
In other words, you got it wrong. He's going to fix it now, and let's just go to the fixing.
ונראה שטעות סופר הוא, וצריך להיות כגון איסור קר, או אפילו חם שנפל על הצלי וכולי. So he changes the word to kegon, right? That's a change?
No, he says that
Instead of,
If it's even cold, how much more so hot?
He flipped Cham and Kar in the tour. He flipped where they are,
Yeah.
right?
They close where they are.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he does emendations the old way, what fits logically. It doesn't need any other. I saw it in another sefer. None of that. Doesn't make any sense. This is Beis Yosef talking about. Ubashem, it makes he definitely makes sense here. Ubashem Mahari ibn Chabib.
ובשם מורנו הרב רבי יעקב אבן חביב ז"ל מצאתי, אבל דרך צלי כגון איסור חם וכולי. כוונתו בזה לכלול שני מיני איסור שהם חם לתוך חם, one, או צונן לתוך חם, two.
Right.
ואמרו, אפילו אינו נמשך ונקשר עם... what's that?
I'm not sure.
אפילו
I don't know. I was trying to figure that out. I don't know.
נמשך ונקשר.
Bafil Eino Nimshach.
It's probably Masha Katav, right? It doesn't continue and connect to what he already wrote.
אוקיי.
Maybe.
Wait. Joe, how are you reading? You doing the Nikshar as one phrase, or are you doing a comma?
One
between
phrase.
Nimshach and Nikshar?
Is like a hendiatus. Is that what they call it? Something like that. When two words be the same thing together. I don't know. So
Okay. Im Masha Katuv, right. Eno Oser, okay, fine, good. Eno Oser
אין
Kulo.
לו עושר כולו, רק פירושו, אבל דרך צלי, שיש בו צד איסור, כגון איסור חם, או אפילו קר.
Okay, so now we're saying thing new here. Derech Tzli.
דרך צלי.
What does that mean?
So when you do the roasting,
Right. In the process of the roasting.
process, yeah.
Of a tzli sheyesh bo tzad isur. There's something usher about it. Now he gives an example. Kagon,
כגון איסור חם, או אפילו קר, רצה לומר, לא מבעיה חם שנפל על הצלי שיש בו צד איסור, אלא אפילו קר לתוך חם אסור, ומכל מקום אינו אסור בשום אחד מהם, אלא כדי נטילה. עד כאן לשונו.
okay, can you explain that?
Yeah, if it's derech tzli, then even if it's a car cold into a heat, that normally would be mutar, because it's a derech tzli, then it's asur, but only a kedei netila. Right? That's how
I think so. Max, did you get this? Since I've been calling on you, did you get this part? This line? Ruvain, did you get it?
I think so.
No, Shammai got really good, so Shammai can try it again. You're not getting it.
So, הדרך tzli שיש בו צד איסור. Okay, let's start again. לא מבעיה, רצה לומר, לא מבעיה, חם שנפל על הצלי שיש בו צד איסור. That is obvious, because that's a cham. But even if it's a kar, אלא אפילו קר לתוך חם, אסור. ומכל מקום אינו אסור בשום אחד מהם, אלא כדי נטילה.
So tzad isur or derech strikes me means it's tending towards, we would say in English, something like that. In other words, there is something with this chum that's not exactly sufficient, or I should say with the car, it's not exactly the way, it's not the best case example of it becoming isur, but it's usur, but it's tending towards that direction. Does that help at all? I've been thinking about this today. So therefore, continue with that, Shammai.
Yeah. Continue reading?
Yeah.
זה לשון הרשב"א, כל איסור שאינו מפעפע, אף על פי שנפל חם על גבי חם, קולף מקום שנפל שם ומותר, עד כל לשונו. So because it's not spreading, if the Isur is not spreading, then even though it's Cham al Gabi Cham, you can do kolef, peel it, and then it's mutar. ואף על פי שכתב
So
kolef,
that means that the klipa is something. Because, I don't know, ba'afal pisha kosav kolef.
Just
ואף על פי
I'm
שכתב kolef,
sorry, makom shenafal cham. Wait, sorry, again. Is a cham al gabe cham? I'm sorry for being pedantic here. Is a cham al gabe cham? Kolef makom shenafal shum. Okay, mutar. Then it's mutar. Akol shel ba'afal pish kosav kolef. Okay, fine, no. So therefore, G'nei Klipa here is not like we said before, like a Gurna. G'nei Klipa does something.
yeah.
It does something. Now he says, V'afal pi.
ואף על פי שכתב קולף, כבר נתבאר דלעניין מעשה צריך נטילת מקום באיסורי דאורייתא.
So now he's kovei a klal here. You gotta be careful on Isurei Dioraisa.
Yeah, kolef is not sufficient. You need כדי נטילה, because we're talking about if we're talking about an isur d'oraita.
He's saying now only in a few words what he said earlier, but now it's like he's convinced that when it comes to Isurei Torah, and it would be a Kedei Klipa situation, you should do Kedei Natila.
Yeah.
That is what I called a religious thing before, has now become not just halacha, what the objective halacha should be, but it's lemaisa.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the terms that he used. Ari, you're going to say?
I was going to say he's being consistent with, I read this as being consistent with what he was saying before, that the lashon of kolef itself is obviously, if it's a real issue that you're worried, if it's a daraisa issue that you're worried about, it means kedei natila. That's why I keep reading it, because he's saying like, what if we say it's usher klipa? I mean, that's too close for comfort with the isser daraisa. You would klipa.
So you're helping me.
Kolef means really cut something significant off.
Kolef has the possibility of being Natila. Is that what you're saying? I don't know what you're saying.
I'm saying in Isser Daraita, he's basically reading it that way. Back
Okay,
into
that's interesting.
even the Gemara, right?
No, okay. No, before you, Joel. Josie?
So just, is there an underlying suffix here that he's worried about? Because if you're saying when kolef, but we're machmir because it's midoraita, so we're going to say netilat makom. Are we saying suffix midoraita l'chumra? Are we just being machmir on what kolef really? How much is kolef? Is kolef just rubbing it off, or is kolef just as little as rinsing, or as much as netilat makom? And how much of it is dependent upon some underlying suffix as to whether or not we're worried about things.
Okay, so you're strengthening my earlier reading. Now that what you said is very good. My reading where it said derech tzli sheyesh bo tzad isur, and by derech tzli I'm saying tending towards tzli, and that already has, or in the process of tzli. In other words, so it can even be weak tzli, but that already has a tzad isur in it, because maybe it is tzli. The suffix may be a Messiah. In other words, Josie, I think maybe it's a Messiah's question. We just don't know. It's not like a theoretical question. It's like a practical thing almost. We just don't know. Okay. What do you have, Joel?
I'm wondering if b'diavad he would say if you did klipa and then that would be okay, because just based on the Rashba earlier who said that Mikar Hadini thought klipa was enough, but since it's a deraita we should be machmir about it.
Okay, but we don't teach apicorsis like that. Okay, no, but no,
yeah,
exactly
no, I mean
you're
yeah,
right. I mean you're right. You're right. You're right. But don't tell your Baal Bathim that. Wait till they come to you and you go, oh right, Don't do that. Put $5 in the stucco box. Don't do it again. Okay. Let's skip the next couple lines. In nafal isur. Okay, so Ori, you want to read? You're going to read. Nafal isur al chatichasha b'kedera.
Did we skip down on the Beit Yosef?
Just a little bit.
Nafal Yisur Chatiyash B'Kedera Hu Shehi Michutz Chutz Harotev.
So I should have read that's the whole thing we're talking about. Meat
Should we go back to the
is
Tur?
outside or is connected. No, you just read it here. You got enough. It's
Okay.
chutz l'rotev, okay?
וכולי עד הרוטב מפעפע.
If the rotev is mefapeh, right? הטעם.
ומערבו ונכנס בכולו. כך כתב הרשב"א בתורת הבית, פשוט הוא, ומחלוקת רש"י ורי נתבאר בסימן צדי ב'.
Yeah, okay, but the Rash was going that it still works, right? Half of the meat's hanging out, still works. There's pipua through the rotav. Well, Sli, that's our real issue here, yeah?
שאנו נוהגים לעשות בתנור. So this is a special kind of tzli that we do in an oven, בתוך מחבת. So we're roasting in an oven in a pan, ונותנים בה מעט מים, and we put a little bit of water on the bottom.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Right. ורוב החתיכה היא חוץ לרוטב, but most of the pieces outside of this sauce, which is really the water, הדבר פשוט, דלרי דינו כמבושל. So this would be simple. According to the Ri, this is like bishul in the rotev, but the Rashi dino kitzli. And for Rashi, this is going to be, if most of the pieces outside of the liquid, it's going to be like tzli.
And you could do the machlokas on your own. Kosa b'hagos, Maimon.
כתבו הגאות מימון בפרק ט"ו. בשם רבנו פרץ גבי תתא הגבר, סגי בנטילת מקום. Sorry, בשם רבנו פרץ גבי תתא הגבר, סגי בנטילת מקום. So when we have tata agavar, it's enough to just take off that piece. Im ein bo shuman, if there's no fat there. Mihu ein lahakel bazeh.
Why?
We see you can't.
Another
Wait, Tavi, I'm reading. You gotta close the door. Close my door. Thank you. Sorry. For sure. Mihu ein lahakel bazeh. The pamim yesh bo shuman. Because we don't really know. Sometimes there is going to be fat in there.
Lavadate, right.
Lavadate, we don't really know how much fat.
This is the insecurity principle in halacha. As sure as they are, there's sometimes insecure things. Okay, umihu.
Umihu afilu below shuman yesh la'asor kulo. So we see even if without really a confirmation of fat, we could be asor the whole thing. And again, this is the case of just a little bit of water.
And so you'd say, why would you say that asur kula? Why potentially asur kula? Why yesh asur kula?
Because there might be enough fat in there for it to be mifa'afeh.
Okay, fine. V'had sagi.
V'had sagi b'netilat makom b'matnitin de netef meirotvo al hacheres. So looking at the case in the Mishnah where a little bit from the rotev drops onto the cheres. Zeu mishum de'en harotev nofel al kulo ela tipa be'almahu. But this is when there's just a teeny bit of a drop that just falls on it. Dinafal. Tipa be'almahu dinafal. Aval gabe tata agavar. But when we're talking about like what's on the bottom, chatichat ha'isur nogat bekula. The piece of isur is touching the whole thing. That's why they were aser. Because it's going to bubble up in the whole piece.
Okay. Oh,
I'm jumping ahead. Okay, fine. We're in hay now, but
yeah,
Hey
Aleph, yeah.
Bamed dvarim amurim berach b'yerech im gido v'chayotze bo davar kachush. Aval gdi shamen shetzla'o b'chalbo asur le'achol afilu merosh ozno v'chulei.
Okay, we got that principle, right? The shamen kachush. Okay, good.
Ahad amar Shmuel. Kolef ad shemagia legid.
When it's kachush, right?
Machshe begmara. Ini. V'ha'amar Huna. Gdi shetzla'o b'chalbo asur le'achol. Okay, so the Gemara brings a question against that. For the gdi, that's I guess is what we call gdi shamen, right?
Yeah.
Afilu miroshos no. Even you can't even eat it, to that little the last little piece because we think the fat has spread through the whole thing. Umeshani shani chaylev, and then they teach in the Gemara this is different with chaylev to mefapeach because it bubbles up through the whole piece.
Okay, they keep on asking, Bahadar Maksha.
V'hadar maksha b'chaylev asur, b'chaylev asur, and is chaylev really asur? V'ha'amar Rabba bar Chana, uvda hava kamei derbi Yochanan, b'gdish etzla'o b'chalbo. So we had this case where they came
Right,
before
so that's our
Yochanan.
famous case. Come on.
Yeah,
Amar-
V'amar kolef v'ochel. I gotta review it though. V'amar
Oh.
kolef v'ochel. They said yes, just do quick, just scratch off the right part, and then you can eat it. Ad shemageh lechelbo, until it gets up to the point of the chelev.
Keep on scratching it off. Keep on. Right.
Right. So you get to the non-chelev part. Umashani hahu kachushaya. And this is what they said there. That's a kachush.
So now what they're going to do is go through a series of answers, which this was the first answer of why in our case they say, why is there a case that says you can you can be co-life of ochel, that you just co-life ochel magil to the gate, magil gate. That's one answer, and so the question is, how can it be? We always know it's mefafeya, and the answer is, first big answer, the answer of our Gemara is, it's a gedi kachush. But now we're going to have all the other answers. So I'll let you in on that. So that was one. Let's go to number two. Rav Huna.
Yeah, Hava kachush Hava. Rav Huna bar Yehuda Amar Kulia b'chel b'hava.
Okay, right. It was what's a kulia? It's one word.
It's an organ. It's
Balchan kleos.
It's a kidney, right?
Kidney, right?
A kidney in its fat.
Hoya, right? And then the Tosfos explained it. Hoya kasu v'Tosfos.
ואפילו הראש למעלה לצד החלב והכליות למטה, ועומד בשיפוד בתנור, אסור לאכול. אפילו מראש אוזנו. The חלב מפעפע.
Yeah.
אפילו כלפי מעלה.
So that gives us an added thing. Although regarding kulia, we'll hear more about the kulia part of the answer. But at least this part of the answer says not only is it mefafeh, it's mafeh l'mal. That's the Rosh Hashanah. But that's a Rambam.
How does that answer it? Because of the direction that it's in, it's not mefafeh? In that they're saying that would be the case where it would have been allowed.
Right. Yeah. Right. But we're going to have to say something better about the kulia. They didn't say it fully yet. We'll get to it. But that's a Rambam.
בפרק ט"ו ממחלות אסורות, דהא דאמרינן אסור לאכול מראש אוזנו, היינו כשאין בגדי 60 לבטל החלב. Right, so the Rambam, it's allowed because that's a case where there's not 60th. No, sorry. Asur le'achol me'rosh ozno. The one where you're not allowed to eat it is because there's not 60 against the chaylev. So the whole animal is asur according to the Rambam. Aval im yesh bebasar hagdi shishim levatel hachelev, but if there is 60 to cancel out the chaylev, kegon she'en shamen v'kamut chelbo mu'at, and it's not a fat one, it has very little fat. Kolef v'ochel. That's the case of kolef v'ochel. Ad shemageh lechelev. I thought we said that the Rambam would say the whole thing is mutter. You don't even have to kolef.
Yeah, well, that's not a problem. You're the kolef ochel. You eat it.
Yeah, I mean, if you eat actual chaylev, you have to throw the chaylev out. That's the Rambam.
Until you get to the
chaylev. Until you get to the place of the chaylev.
Until you get to the isur, we should put in the word. Until you get to the isur. So that was number 3. Now let's go to number 4. Varan kosav. And one thing he also adds with the Rambam is that, it just gives us a word, ukamut chabo muat. The amount is, the chalev is small. It's important bira. Va'aran kosav.
שהרעה בדק הבית, what is that on the Rashba? חולק בזה,
Va'aran kosav.
right, the Ran brings the רעה,
Yeah.
חולק בזה, ואמר דאין חלב מפעפע, he argues, the חלב is not מפעפע, מתבטל בצלי לעולם. דבקטרה הוא שמתבטל מפני הרוטב, hold on, I'm not reading this right. חולק בזה, ואמר דאין חלב מפעפע. אין חלב מפעפע מתבטל בצלי לעולם. That the bubbling fat would not be mitbatel in tzli. The bictera who.
The Gedera who. Sorry. I'm always doing directing. The Gedera who. Shemit batel.
Oh, the bictera who shemit batel. It's in the kedera that would be canceled out mipnei rotev in the liquid.
The rotav molech.
Sharotav molich ha'isur b'shaveh, because the rotev is what spreads out the isur to sort of equally. And that's what bittul really is. About bitzli, but in roasting, where it bubbles up on its own. If shar shahir bami menu,
You have to keep on reading.
Oh, shar mimenu, right? So a lot of it mitkanes b'makom echad. A lot of it could be in one place. Hilkach afilu b'shishim lo batil, and that's why even 60 would not be batil.
Well, okay, how does this help us? What the Ron just said right now.
It's a different. Well, it takes down the Rambam applying bittul into tzli. He's saying tzli doesn't have bittul because it's bubbling and it's not necessarily evenly dispersed. It just could be anywhere in the food.
So if you're looking for the dichotomy to look for is not in the amount of fat, shomein or rosa, kochush, but look towards how is it being prepared. And if it's a bishul, then it's going to have a beetle as long as there's 60. But tzli, even with 60, there's still a problem. How do you fix that problem, by the way? You get rid of it. You just get rid of it. I mean, you can eat it until you get to it, right? And then you throw it out. Because it's
no, it sounds like in Iran it's spreading throughout the piece. If there's indeed enough chaylev.
The Ran's quoting the Ra'ah. That's what the Ra'ah says. But the Ran disagrees. Anira midivrei Haran.
Anira midivrei Haran. Shehu cholek alav. The Ran disagrees with the Ra'ah. V'gam gedolei kol poskim chalukim alav. Most poskim are against this. Shekvar katavdi, like I wrote. She'arambam pasak shehu mitbatel. Like the Rambam said that it was canceled out. V'kach perish ha'rashba, v'atosfot, v'arosh.
Period. V'harash, v'harosh.
Oh, period.
No, maybe you're right. I'm sorry. Who?
I think.
V'harosh.
Who kachush?
No. So it's a rush kasavo. What do you have there? A rush. What? What's the next word?
I think it's both the Tosfot and the Rosh Katvu there.
Yeah, because I have the period before that also.
I put my period. Yeah, okay, fine. But Rosh for Tosfos kasvu, right?
Hahu kachush hava. That case was a dry one. V'lakach shari. The chaylev kachush eino mefapeh, because when it's sort of dried out, the fat does not spread.
Good. V'od yesh lomar.
V'od yesh lomar kachush hava v'yesh bo me'at chaylev ubitel bashishim.
Right.
You could also say that's a little bit of fat and it's batel. Even in the case of tzli, so unlike the ra'ah.
Good. Amai.
The amai damrinan shani chelev demafa'apea. But didn't we just say that chelev is different because it does bubble?
Yeah. Kasu b'tosfos.
Katvu tosfot v'im tamar b'matnitin Ika Shuman Gid. You could say that in the Mishnah, that's the Shuman Gid, Mifa'apea, that bubbles. Vafilu Nitzla Nami Letzar Kule. And even roasted, you would be sort of the whole
So
thing.
he's bringing the same question we have. He's bringing the question is cited by the Tosfos. Now he's coming to the answer. V'nir Rabbeinu Tam.
V'nir Rabbeinu Tam, the Shamno Shel Gid, Eino Mefa'apea. Rabbeinu Tam says no. The fat of the gid does not bubble up. The Katav Arosh Shekach Tzarich Lomar L'divrei Rashi. The Arif Shekatvu the Shomno Shel Gid Asur.
Asur Osir.
Slicha, Shomno Shel Gid Oser. So Rashi and the Rif say that the gid's fat does oser. Udaloke.
So in other words, so he's disagreeing with the Rashi and the Rif, right? Rashi and Rif say Shemano Shel Gid Osir.
Karivas.
And Rabbeinu Tam says Shemano Shel Gid Eino Mefa'apea. So it's not Osir. He's laying out the different sheets. Rivam.
Sheteret dekevan de shomno shel gid midrabanan lo hechmiro bo yoter mi begid.
Yeah, right. So that's the answer we had earlier on, and it makes its appearance. It makes its appearance again. In other words, we don't have to worry about it. It's drabanan. Okay, that's as far as we go. Rabbi Kosav.
Rabbeinu katav din gdi shetzlao bechelbo stam velo pier im da'ato keterutz rishon or keterutz sheni.
What's the terutz rishon? Doesn't tell us which way he's applying it. Joel, what's terutz rishon and what's terutz sheni?
It's about mefafea, it's about metzius, and that sheni was about derabanan deraita, I think.
Right. So that would be important to know. The Rashba Kotav. Now we go to another answer. Kotav.
Rashba Kotav b'Torah Tabayit. Nira li perusho shel Rabbeinu Tam. Shepirish kachu shaba. V'tiv'o shel chelev shehu kachush.
Yeah, tiv'o. It's the teva. Tiv'o. That's the magic word. Tiv'o shel chelev
shehu kachush. Eino mufapeh. Is that
it's
all?
Not a matter of amount. It's a matter of it. It's weak. It's weak.
The type of chelev.
Yeah. Well,
ולפיכך אפילו לא היה בבשר הגדי 60 לבטל את החלב, אינו אוסר את כולו, ובקליפה סגי, או בנטילת מקום,
Yeah. So even if there's not shishim, you don't need the number of shishim. We know that already, but he's repeating it to let us know. It's so weak. It's not with peah, and the whole shishim, and shishim seems, now we're talking about a different concept. Shishim seems to be the backup in many cases. Once there's shishim, nothing matters before. Once there's shishim, it's mutter. So he throws it in here. That even if you don't have shishim, it's still mutter, because b'teva it doesn't work. Okay, the havale. Let's go on.
The havale kishamno shel gid. Shemachmat kachishuto. So the fat of the gid is like kachush. Eino mufa'apeh. Like from its kachishuto, eino mufa'apeh. Uvetzli eino srim, and that therefore
right. Not because. So it's not because of the tzli per se. It says something very important. I think I understand that the lamb that is the gedi that is shomain. Excuse me, the gedi that's shomain, you'd have to talk in terms of 60 or not. But a gedi that's kachush, it's kachush. It's not with peah. So what am I trying to say? And that impacts on the tzli. It has nothing to do with whether it's bishul or whether or not it's with or whether or not it's or its own name. It has to do that it doesn't have to do with how you prepare it. It has to do with how it is itself is its materiality as opposed to how you prepare it, which would be the difference of bishul, which is mafapeya, and with its own name, which is not mafapeya. No, it has to do with itself. That by beteva is kochush. Okay, the chain das.
הרמב"ן ז"ל, וכן כל הקרומות האסורים משום תרבה,
Tarbet chaylev.
אוקיי, משום תרבה אם נמלאו או ניצלו עם הבשר קולף ואוכל. Sorry, אם נמלחו או ניצלו, if it was salted or roasted with that meat, קולף ואוכל, you can peel it off. עד שמגיע להם, until you get to the Isser. וכן דעת הרמב"ם והרמב"ן ז"ל. ויש לי ללמוד עליהם. מדאמרינן קוליה בחל והבה.
We kind of skipped that. In other words, that was the second answer all the way up there. The first one was it was kachush. Second answer was kulya b'chalava. But then they started talking about amounts, right? And then they went to all the other answers. So now they're coming back to that kidney that was hanging by a stone, right? So what's it say here now?
על מלכותים שבקוליה וקרום שעליה, קרום שעליה.
What's chrome?
It's like that little layer of separation.
Right, the chrome. Chrome
שעליה המפסיק בינה ובין החלב. It's in between the organ and the חלב. שעליה אינה אוסרת אותה.
It's not. It doesn't do what? It doesn't
forbid it. Meaning it doesn't transfer the chelev.
No, what's the otah?
The kulya.
The kulya, right? I just want to make sure. Okay, the load.
V'lo od ela afilu haya al gabei hakrom chelev gamur.
Chelev gamur, right?
Even if there was total chelev on the krom, hakarom chotzetz umetzil et hakulya milivloa et hachelev sha'alav ad kan leshono.
Very nice. Now we got that answer there. Now it turns out to be a good answer. Turns out to be a good
And that
answer.
was according to who?
That well,
whose lashon was that? The Rashba still?
The Ramban.
Ramban.
That was the Ramban. Oh, Zelishono, I see. Okay. ובתורת הבית הקצר כתב בלשון קצר בצח.
The Torah Sabayis HaKatzar, Katzar B'Lashon, Katzar B'Tzar. Beautiful.
החלב והשומן מפעפעים, ולכן אפילו על ידי צלי, אפילו על ידי מליחה, אוסרים את הכל. So he does think the chalev bubbles up, and therefore it's going to forbid the whole piece. עד שיהא בהתר 60 כנגד כל האיסור. Until there's 60 to cancel out the איסור. ולפיכך גדי שמן שצלעו בחלבו, אם אין בכל הגדי 60 כנגד כל החלב שבו, אסור לאכול. אפילו מראש אוזנו, שהחלב מפעפע בכל. במה דברים אמורים? בגדי שמן. אבל בכחוש, okay, so what is that talking about? בגדי שמן. אבל בכחוש, אף על פי שאין בגדי 60 כנגד כל החלב שבו, אינו אסור, אלא כדי קליפה.
אסור, right, אלא כדי קליפה. שהחלב
של בהמה כחושה, כחוש הוא בטבעו ואינו מפעפע.
You see what's happened here. He summarized everything else that we just saw, all the different reasons. You know, the different ways in which we say that it's not oser. Kalchush an amount, or kalchush b'teva. whether there's a chrome on the kulia or not a chrome on the kulia. He's just he's repeating it. This is very good to review. ויש אומרים,
שצריך נטילת מקום. So even in that case, maybe you still need to do natila more than just klifa.
right.
והראשון נראה לי,
What's the
Ikar.
Rishon?
Just klipa
Klipa, right.
instead of a whole natila.
Ella.
Ela sheyesh lachush is very consistent. Ela sheyesh lachush.
Was he very?
Umihu baklipa sagi.
No. Do you have the next words? Ella sheyesh lachush.
Am I in the wrong place?
I have
it goes up the column. My bad. Okay, double bait Yosef on this page. Ela sheyesh lachush ledivrei hamachmirim be'isura shel Torah. Right. So really, the ikar is that it's klipa. But if you're in the Isra Torah, we're going to do natila.
Halacha, it's klipa, lemaisa, it's natila, and why? It's not just because we want to be machmer, because it's an Isur D'Oraisa. In that fashion, whatever we say is different in klipa and natila. In this regard, natila is a frummer version, more careful version of klipa. I still don't know for sure if klipa and natila are really two separate, and then maybe natila is the ikar and klipa is only certain cases. Sounds to me like here the klipa is the most important thing. What do you have, Isaac? You had something there? No, wrong hand, my hand. Okay. So keep in the hot weather, cold weather, excuse me. Keep your gedi shamein. That's all I can say. And again, something I said at the beginning, please listen to participate, or at least listen to share on Shulchan Aruch. And next time we're going to do our best to finish up the Beis Yosef on this. Okay, yesh koach to you all.
Yashikoach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.